Kia ora koutou, welcome back. We're back to our next session, but before we do, I'm just going to give opening karakia to bless this next session. So kia ora. Tu tawa mai I ranga, tu tawa mai I raro, tu tawa mai I roto, tu tawa mai I waho, kia tau ai te mauri, te mauri ora, kia te koutoa. Humie, huie, dai, kia. So kia ora, welcome back. I'm handing to Rob now. Kia ora.
Kia ora, Nick. Thanks. I'm going to introduce the next research project, which is Te Whakahononga. So it's a PO, or the supporting architecture of the Ngāraku Taki research program. The team is coordinated and connecting people who have Mātauranga Māori skills and unique localised knowledge with other scientists across 15 geographical areas impacted by Kari dieback or myrtle rust. With 15 different mana whenua groups coming on board, this is an unprecedented level of iwi and hapu participation for the Bioheritage National Science Challenge in Ngāraku Taki. So now we're going to play a video just that'll take us further into this. Over to the video.
Ko roa ke wa tātou ngā atu e whawhai na warumi a rātou. E mohena, te wehenga o papatūna ko Rarawa ko Rangi, ka tīmata wana tamariki ki te toto heke a rātou. Ne? Ko tāne tēnei kahane ki te teki wana rāku. Ko tāwhiri tēnei e mauana te ngāngara ko te ngāngara korone ko te myrtle rust. Ki te hamahama ki te mate wera rāka o tātou. Ne? Nā ke kona tangaroa e tari meina tōna wai me te ngāngara kei roto. Ne? Ki te patu wena wa tātou rāko te kauri me e rātu. E huri atuna, ka haere te ngāngara ki roto te wai, ka hau atu, ka ngotenga te waine, ka taitu ki te ngāko o te kauri, ko tīmata te mate haere o ngā tātou kauri.
Tupu mai au I taupo, I taua wā ore kau e huarahi ki ngā toa ki ahanoa. Hono ko te moana me te ngahere I Ranginui o taupo me tōtara. Te nuinga wako krani haere ki reire te rapu rongoa. Aku tungane hoki te tiki kaima mātou, ngā manu e kainga nei taua wā. Me te haere te kohi e tahi o ngā kākano. Pēnei te kraka he kaipina te hoki mā mātou ngā mokopuna, me ngā traere hoki me era me I haere ako krani. E taitanga ako krani I haere ana ki te tiki miro. E harana he mo te kukupa, engari hei kohi ki roto e te o rātou kai. I roto I te hāngi ka kohia, te tino reka hoki e poaka puhi, e tahi whai kauna. Ka kohia te miro kia pai o ki te kakara o te kai.
We had no power, of course, in those days, so my experience with my old people at Te Ti was really about surviving, or actually chopping wood, because we had no power, and we actually relied on our forest, if you like, for our wood. And really to keep our fires burning at home, because there was no other warmth except our wood from the bush, and mostly kai katoa, I guess, in our time, in my time, and I guess, and at that time we actually really went into the bush. Ki te poro wahia, ki te mahi wera mahi, nā te mea hoki ko weranga, wā o te marae noki. So whenever we had huis, we actually would have to chop lots of wood, because that's how we actually fed our people.
Nā koe tēnei te take mea kana me kaha tātou ki te cheki te Taiao o tātou rākau, ke kaha tātou ki te cheki a tātuanu. E hono katoa tēnā katoa, ngā mea pāna ki wa tātou te iwi wa tātou tangata, e pāna tēnei mate ki runga wa tātou rākau, ne?
And we've lost our birds. You know, we've lost our lot of our tonga in our awa and our moana, you know, because it does affect that.
Te Whakahononga in the context of being a part of the engagement strategy or engagement plan in the Ngā Take program, science program, which is focused on the two ngangara, the Phytophthora agathodicida, which is the pathogen that's harming our kauri, and myrtle rust, which is the pathogen that's impacting on our mutaceae rangatira rākau. And Te Whakahononga is basically an engagement plan to help scientists appropriately work with and co-design research projects with mana whenua at place. It's cool to, adapt to these sort of times and all the nārara that are coming into our Taiao and, in the ngahere and in the moana. And so to be able to have our whānau front and centre to lead that kind of mahi has been pretty cool. It's really just changing the culture of scientists and science organisations. Traditionally, the approach has been to go to a place, a ngahere, a maunga or an environment and just collect samples, take them back to the lab and extract what research they're aiming for. And so that's inappropriate actually for our mana whenua, and because we're dealing with whakapapa. So if seedlings are being taken from our ngahere, we need to know because it's a part of our whakapapa and what's happening with those taonga, our kakano.
It just tastes like nothing.
Quite bland. Eh? It's quite bland.
Like mud, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we want cultural authority arrangements around who owns the intellectual rights and property. We've had a number of challenges going through this mahi, and what we initially thought was going to be a challenge was the introduction or the adoption by mana whenua to working with scientists, but actually it's been the challenge of scientists to change their practice to include and understand that mana whenua need to be part of the research. And Te Whakahononga has allowed us to test that particular concept.
It's a first to really have it formalised in a whole science challenge program, and so that's a big concept. That's a big culture shift in the scientific space.
E taia tātou ki te mahitahi, mēnā e whakarongo. Mēnā e whakarongo ana. Me te mea tūtahi ki te whakapono. Ne kore tika te wairua, te takata, ko kore tika te hinengaro. Ne kore tika te hinengaro, ko kore tika te tinanga.
an aspiration of this is that this system, the Te Whakahononga approach, which is an easy system, gets adopted across all CRIs and research agencies and hopefully government agencies as an approach when you're wanting to work with mana whenua or to go into an area where you're affecting or having an impact on taonga.
Great, that's a perfect segue into the next session. Can I introduce Ari Carrington? So he plays a leadership role in the Patuharakeke Te Iwi Trust for a number of years, and he's steadily been building capacity and capability of tamariki. He's passionate about revitalising matarangi and tikanga and traditional practices, and he's leading the engagement of for Patuharakeke.
No other choice but to.
For Patuharakeke in the NRT's Te Whakahononga. So over to you, Ari.
I can give you a 5-minute overview.
Kia ora koutou, e te iwi. Thanks for that introduction. Ari Carrington, e riri o hau o Patuharakeke. Awesome opportunity to be able to share the mahi that we've been up to today. So yeah, ngā rākau take, NRT is sometimes referred to the Bioheritage Challenge 2022, and our project is focusing on an area that we call Puke. Puke te maunga. Puke forms the backdrop for our marae and kāinga and takehiwai, and is referred to in our pepeha, many tribal traditions, kōrero and central to our identity. These lands were taken under the Public Works Act. However, we're in active negotiations with agencies for its return and continue our tiakitanga and customary practices there. One of the main focuses for us as hapu kaimahi is revitalising customary practices that took place within Puke and passing those on. And one of the things in the tools that we aim to do is collect information and share it back with many of the kaumātua that provided us the beginning information, and take it back and share it with them, whether it be a photo or just letting them know the results of the projects that we're working on up there. And at the same time, always remembering that we are the teina and our precious taonga, the kauri, are our rangatira. Puke is the cornerstone of the indigenous forest, which makes up Puke and the Takehiwai Hills. We've been lucky enough to work on what we call the Puke Ngāhere Management Plan, and our management plan aims to prevent PA from entering the Puke Ngāhere, to minimise PA spread by people, animals, vehicles and machinery. And we've got a whole heap of work going on, both with installing foot cleaning stations, and also we're about to construct a vehicle wash station through one of the main vehicle accesses up into Puke. So our work within the NRT program, we intend to utilise mātauranga Māori along with scientific and technological advancements to inform ongoing measurements for prevention and management of the spread. Te Whakahononga, we have two types of hononga. One that I really like to focus on is transferring information back to our kaumātua, so that there's both the hononga with the ngāhere and the projects that we're working on with many of our partners, but also there's that cultural knowledge and cultural safety, making sure that we keep the hononga of those. So far we're working with host pathogen and environment, the integrated surveillance and control, protect, cure tools. We're currently in the process of utilising cultural indicators, and we've been doing a lot of work about making sure that we have our cultural indicators at the top of our methodology. Shortly we'll be working with Tohe whānau from Ngāti Hine on a rongoā focused process towards our project, and we're looking forward to that. And yeah, as I talked about, transferring information back to our kaumātua. Some of the tools of protection we use, there's been heaps of different learnings, whether it be traditional mātauranga or using modern day technology. So we were fortunate enough to be able to get some of the latest tools, which has been a hard case wānanga, working out how we can integrate all these new technology with the old practices that we've been using. Simple things like over here we have a foot wash station, and that's on the main track from our marae Takihiwai up to Pukekohe. So the idea is that becomes a normal practice that we use that same track and go through the foot wash station. And with our GPSs, we can locate both traditional areas that our tupuna went to either to collect kai, rongoa, or places they went to either wānanga or reflect on things that were happening within the hapu. And also there's that awesome opportunity to be able to get into some of those places that we might not be able to unless we're working on projects such as these. So yeah, mai te Taiao Patuharakeke, tēnei te mihi kia koutou, to our many partners, kaumātua, all the different hapu that have jumped on board to give us a hand. Tēnei te mihi kia koutou.
That was great. And look, we're going to have a panel discussion now. Can I think that's the plan of attack? So can I, I'm just trying to find my, just bear with us in the moment. We're just having a few technical little issues as we get our order sorted out for this.
There's been a change in the programs to our speakers, so we're just altering live speed here in the Cody Land Summit. But we're nimble, agile, and we can pivot, as everyone says.
Pivot is a key word.
So we have an apology. Carlton Bidwa, who was to join us for the corridor today, can't, but we have an amazing speaker next who is going to ably and willingly fill that spot. So I would like to welcome Nai mai haere mai, Alby Marsh. He's a man of many things, including Māori manager of the Better Border Biosecurity program, but more importantly, don't tell anyone, he's also the co-lead in the conservation restoration theme in Ngā Rākau Takitaki, and he's an amazing man who's worked with me for many years. So kia ora.
Kia ora tātou. Kanui te mihi kia koutou I mā taki mai I tēnei wahanga, tēnei te mihi. Ko ai au, ko Alby Marsh tōku ingoa, e uri tēnei o Ngāti Hine me tauranga moana, e mahi ana hau ki te rangahau aha Marakai ki te papai oia. So I'm here today, and as thanks Nick for the introduction, I'm here to talk about the tangata kōkiri role within whakahononga. And it is quite an important role because this person is the key communicator, the key contact for the iwi when the researchers, especially the researchers, Takitaki. So the tangata kōkiri role was established as part of the whakahononga to recognise the multiple relationships mana whenua coordinate. So whakahononga kōkiri role is both a connector and a protector in a biodiversity management. The right relationships are formed between researchers and the place where they are researching. So tangata kōkiri also oversights the facilitation a disclosure document, which is called the Cultural Authority Arrangement. The Cultural Authority Arrangement is the document that allows and provides permissions for researchers to work in that particular BMA or biodiversity management area. It recognises the tonga, information and back first naturescape, land, water, air, sea, while we support the capacity of mana whenua to establish their own authority agreements at place. tangata established in their role and are an authority on relationships between mana whenua, hapu and iwi, and agencies like agencies and researchers that are part of the Bi National Science Challenge. The key element that he bring is nation. So able to do is manage the different projects that by the researchers from within the Takitaki. So this can be across 7 themes, or just 1 or 2 themes that they're working alongside. And in that, there are research objectives. So they're able to do is bring all of that together and then redistribute it out to their technicians or their people on. That allows us better coordination of the work, a work program that is a lot more seamless rather than having big blocks of work, gaps, big blocks of work. So tangata kōkiri allows that to that program of work to be managed in a seamless manner, but also it allows him the opportunity to bring in a team and provide surety around employment for a period of time rather than stop, start. So a really important role and one that's essential to the success of Te Whakahononga as a work program. So that is the role of tangata kōkiri. So back to you guys. Kia ora.
Now have our panel discussion. Thanks for stepping into the breach there. That was great. And thank you also for rescuing me, Nick, as I was trying to work out where we were, where did this new person come from? But it was all...
Alby always appears when you most need him. So kia ora, Alby.
Kia ora, Alby. You really stepped up, and thank you for coming into the space at short notice. So we're going to have a panel discussion now, Nick. I think that's the plan. A bit of a Q&A session. And so, yeah, we're over to the, so we've got a panel. We've got, who have we got on the panel now? We've got Ari, Alby, Nick, and Vicky, I think, is going to join us for the session as well. So, okay, no, Vicky, sorry, Vicky, we're saving Vicky for later, but we'll now just have the core team. So any questions from the attendees?
And we've got Dave there too.
And Dave, sorry, Dave. Dave, good to see you back,
As
Dave.
part of it, I want to give a shout out to all the Te Whakahononga BMAs. Kia ora. Kia ora to mana whenua across the motu who are involved in this amazing flagship waka that we've brought together in Ngā Rākau Takitaki, I think. Having you here today is a huge honour as well. So kia ora to all of you out there, and some of whom I was trying to get to see yesterday in a very special ngāhere of Kauri and the Kaimai. So I will say kia ora to all those in that rohe today too. So yeah, back to our panel discussion.
And I think we've got a question here, Nick, from someone asking, has anyone gone into a forest where there might have been a sick tree, removed it, and seeing what the impact that this has on the young trees, as in the opening of light? I wondered if Nick could answer this. Nick, here's one for you.
I've been in some no babies where the sickness is babies, teenagers, and the mighty rākau. So the whole system is very ill. But I've also been in rākau where the young, the saplings, the seedlings, the juveniles are thriving amongst the dieback. So this is where we need that that holistic approach as to what's happening in the Ngāti, what's happening, and in places and spaces there's hope, and in other places it's a very sad place to be. So because all of our ecosystems in each rohe are unique, there's a whole lot of ecologies and connections that we don't understand yet. And, the onioni, the soil health, and what's overlaying in the Ngāhere, what are we doing? What are roads and tracks and pressures and other predators? So it's very much place to place. So when you see those saplings and seedlings germinating and growing, thriving in forests and ecosystems where there is quite a presence of the pathogen or the nārara, there is some optimism that there is something in the system that is protecting those kauri. So I know that's yes and no answer, but at the end of the day, I think those answers are coming from Papatūānuku herself, and guiding and guiding us to some of those answers. But what do you say, Alby, Ari, Dave, around that? Because you've seen some of these sites too.
So the question being about having sick trees removed and then the regeneration that is occurring.
Yes.
Yeah, there are many examples, and we are starting to see a lot more instances where this is occurring, especially with the onset of new diseases that are foreign to a lot of the rākau in the Ngāhere. But what we also believe is that it's not one tree in isolation, it's a community of trees supporting that major tree is what we should be observing and what we should be promoting. And it's a tragedy when we do lose iconic trees like some of the mighty kauri, but it's also up to us to ensure that their community or their whanaunga around them are there in a healthy state as well to provide that community of health or that environment of health. So we look at it as not one tree in isolation, but the whole ecosystem that supports that tree. And I think it's up to us to ensure that continues and that is maintained in a lot of our Ngāhere that we're visiting.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you to the Te Whakahononga crew and always Alby, Ari, and Dave who've been in the waka today, and it was some good kōrero there. It's one of it's a taonga to have such amazing people join us today, and I'd also like to thank you, Rob. It's been a roller coaster of connections and Q&As, and so kia ora for your amazingness is a word to chair and roll with the pivots. So just like to personally thank you for that too. So kia ora.
Thanks. Thank you, Nick. Kia ora.
I'm going to be an MC for a bit. So I've got some announcements. So before we break for lunch, so please join us back at the next session at 1 o'clock. I have to say there's a networking session at 12:30. So grab something to eat and join the network session. You'll see that in the program and click on the room to go in there. Encouraging our Ngā Pika, the fledglings, early career people there, you're more than welcome to come and have a kōrero and connect to the network too. So that's happening at 12:30. Otherwise, and that's also make use of the meeting hub. So there's a meeting hub function, so you can go and visit other our exhibitors and other participants online. So there's all sorts of amazing little things in this virtual conference room that if you explore, you shall find. So kia ora to that. Otherwise, go and have some kai, go and have a break, go and have some fresh air, and we'll see you back at 1 o'clock. I'm just going to close our session now with karakia whakamutunga, and so kia ora everyone. E te papatuanuku, ko mutu tātou te mahitahi o te rā, kia tātou rangamārie, kia mātou tihei mauri ora. Kia ora.